Hey everyone! So I'm recording this Q&A on my webcam because I don't have my camera. It's in my car and I don't have my car right now. So I decided that I should just do it on my webcam just because I haven't been able to upload it or re-record it. I did end up recording it like 2 or 3 days after my book was released, but since then I have seen a lawyer and things, so I decided to re-record it just because there were some things in there that I think were questionable to put up on the internet, for the safety of myself. So a lot of things have happened since I released the book. Things such as I did end up having to go to a treatment center for PTSD and depression. I have been going to therapy, and I've been dealing with a lot of things with family and just a lot of things. So I also have been very skeptical of putting up a Q&A. I've also been very skeptical of recording one again just because I feel like I've reached a point where I'm done talking about it. And I was dreading, really dreading talking about it again on camera. Yeah, there is my explanation as to why I have not uploaded a Q&A yet. Anyways, I have all the questions written out here on my computer, so I will just go through them. Do you have any contact with your family now? Do your children? I do not have contact with my mom at all. I don't talk to her at all, and I don't plan to ever again. As for my other family, some of them I don't talk to now, and it's pretty self-explanatory why. And some family I keep in contact really with social media, not really in person. I haven't seen any of my family since the book was released. Why did I stay quiet for so long? And it's funny that that question was asked because exactly what I was scared of happened. I did keep quiet for so long because I really didn't know how people would react. I didn't know how my friends would react. I didn't know how my family would react, but I was always scared that people wouldn't believe me, which is a lot of the reason why some people don't talk about their abuse or being raped or anything like that, because people will either not believe them or ask a whole bunch of questions and completely just not believe you just because you don't have an answer to a question. I was scared that my family would not be on my side, and that has happened with some family members. Why wouldn't you lose all contact with your mom when you got to a certain age or when you were on your own? My mom truly did make me feel that I could not make it without her every time that I would try or even mention it. If we would get in a fight and I would mention, I want to move out, or I'm gonna start saving to move out or whatever, she would freak out and tell me all of the things that would happen. You can't afford this, you can't do this, how are you gonna do school with the boys? Just constant, like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? And then I would think about it in my mind and be like, she's right. How would I do this without her? So it made me believe that I could not make it without her. And she did this my entire life. Like, any decision that I wanted to make, it was a no, or she would let me do it and I would mess up. And then she would say, this is why I make decisions for you, because you don't know how to. And instead of letting me learn for myself, she would make me do things her way. And that's honestly why once I got to a certain age, I never left. When I was a teenager, my whole plan was to finish school, go to college, far away, and never speak to her again. Obviously, once I got pregnant at 15, those plans changed, And then when I got pregnant again, when I was 17, all hopes of ever, leaving her just went out the window. I didn't even try. I didn't even have a plan for it. My plan then was to do whatever I could to get on my own, and I tried the best I could. She didn't have the greatest childhood as well. I don't really know too much about it, but she didn't have a very pleasant childhood as well. And then when she was a teenager, she did meet my dad really young, and started dating really young. They got married at 18. She had children at 19 and 20. And I feel like she never made a life for herself. And once she saw I did get attention when I was cheering, and she would take pictures of me and everybody would talk about how great her pictures are. She was the person at my cheerleading practices. She was the one that was known as the person that took pictures, and my coaches would let her come into practices, take pictures of all of the cheerleaders, and at the practices and at the competitions and everything. And it was innocent at first, but then I think once social media, like MySpace and everything, started to come around, she made a profile for me and saw a lot of attention I was getting. So then the pictures turned into something provocative. I started to wear provocative clothing. She would make me wear bathing suits. She would tell me what poses to do. We would go to the park and do photo shoots. Then once we lived in Hagerstown, once we moved down the street from one of the boys that I mentioned in the book, we would take them out in the yard and out in my backyard, and it just kept going from there. She went from talking to them and just taking me to meet them to then actually forming relationships with them and then forcing me to do whatever with them and then be in relationships with them in person. And if I didn't, she would either beat me or make my life a living hell. Tell me I'm not allowed to do this, I'm not allowed to do that. She would take things from me. Like I said in the book, I feel like the only reason she did it to me was because of the attention that I got when I was younger, and she just saw, she got a power trip over it. She saw what she could do with it, and she just continued to do it until she couldn't anymore. I finally realized, like, I just can't have a relationship with her anymore. Are you aware she deactivated her YouTube account? I was aware of all the live streams that she did. She actually did. For those who don't know, she did a few live streams after I posted the book, trying to tell everybody that everything isn't true and try to tell stories about me that weren't true, and or she would fabricate it a little bit. And some people actually did believe like what she was saying and everything, and there have been even her friends posting on Facebook about how I'm lying and just trying to get attention and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I'm aware of the live streams. I'm aware of her deleting all of her social media. I've blocked her on everything. She has made new social media. She deleted everything that all of my YouTubers followed her on, and then she made new stuff and made everything pretty much private. I blocked her from everything, even though she has joked before around. I've deleted her off of my Facebook before, even while we lived together, just because I couldn't post anything without her throwing a fit. If there was something that she didn't agree with, I had to delete it. And if I didn't, she would threaten to kick me out. If she didn't have my passwords, she would threaten to kick me out. Or when I added her back to Facebook, eventually I did add her back. She would joke about, Lindsay, I have so many fake Facebook accounts that I can see whatever you're posting. And I don't know what these fake Facebook accounts are. She's made a bunch. She's made a bunch of fake Twitter accounts as well, fake Instagrams and everything like that. And she has bragged about it to me before. Are you currently taking medications for anxiety / seeing a psychologist? I have been on antidepressants, another antidepressant, and I have been on anti-anxiety meds. Currently on Zoloft and clonazepam. I only take the clonazepam as needed, and I haven't had to take it since I went to the treatment center. So far, I am doing good with like medication and everything. I do fully believe that I think I need it. I tried to not have it before and everything, so I'm giving it a try again, and I am seeing a therapist. At first, I was seeing her twice a week, and now I'm seeing her once a week, and then I'm not really sure the treatment plan after that. But are you planning to keep your sons away from your mom forever? Yes, I already said that. I am planning to never let them see her again. What is your relationship with your family like now? I've pretty much touched on that. Some family members I do not talk to. Some family members who barely ever saw her are suddenly hanging out with her all a bunch, going to baseball games with her and letting her coming over to their house and then posting on Facebook that my mom is there. And it's just it really is, it's sickening. It's hurtful. It sucks. It really does. Just because, I love my family and I don't want to not have my family around. But if a relationship with her is more important than a relationship with me, then maybe they never even mattered in the first place. I have Eric's family. I have relationships with the boys' father's family. I have family. If my own family doesn't want to be on my side, then that's their prerogative. I'm not going to completely beat myself up for it. That's one of the reasons why I never came forward, and I finally had the courage to come forward, and exactly what I was scared of happened, and it sucks, but I'm getting through it. So, that's that. Did your longest forced relationship ever find out the truth that your mom was essentially the one in a relationship with him online? Did any of them know the truth? I have told one of them since I released the book. The Charles character in the book does know that he is that character in the book, and he had absolutely no idea, and actually told me some very interesting things about what my mom did. As for everybody else, no, I don't think any of them know. I personally never would tell them. They can find out on their own. I don't want to talk to a lot of them, especially the one that I lost my virginity to, that my mom made me be in a relationship with for 4 years. I don't even know how I would feel if I ever saw him, ever talked to him about it. I just, he was just as mentally unstable as she was, and I think that that's a reason why they got along so well. Him thinking it was me, it was because there was a lot of mental issues with him as well, and I can't even explain it. Did your brother and dad know that it was going on at the time? I fully believe that they did not. A lot of the stuff that she did happened when my dad was at work and my brother was at school, or she would drop my brother off and take me places. I did put in my book that at one time I had, when she had dropped him off and she was about to take me to see the Brandon character in the book, I did cry out to him and say, please help me, please go tell Ma, like, please come help me. And my mom just told him to ignore me. And it's always been, he has a lot of, I think he has a lot of respect for my mom. And so he's always respected her no matter what she's done. And I just think that back then, he always believed her over me. So then, anything that happened while they were at home, like altercations, my mom beating me, anything like that, it wasn't as severe as when we were alone. When they were home and my mom did beat me, it was like it was a spanking. So then they thought that I was just being a brat, being punished for not listening and things like that. And my dad just never stepped in. He barely ever did any discipline. He barely ever did any parenting at all. Not because it was his fault, but because that's just how my mom was. She never let him do anything. That's just how she is. And he was just pretty much absent through the whole thing, not because he could help it, but because my mom just always told him, you know, she has it, she can handle it, and he just dealt with it. Did they suspect something? Not sure. Did they know? I really don't think so. Do they know now? Yes. And my dad is still with her. And that's really all I can say. Did your mom make you get her name tattooed? So if you guys didn't know, I do have my mom's signature on my wrist. Basically, when I was a teenager, I think I was 17. I was 16 or 17 when I got this tattoo. I was at the hair salon with Cassidy, my friend that I have had in videos before. Sorry, excuse me. Just gotten her wrist tattoo and her pinky tattoo that is a heart. And I said, I really want to get a tattoo now. Like, you got a tattoo? I really want to get a tattoo. We had a whole conversation at the hair salon. So while we were at the hair salon, I texted my mom and said, can I get a tattoo? Even though she let me get a tattoo when I was 13, she said I was never allowed to have a tattoo again until I was 18. So since I was 16 and 17, I did text her and ask her if I could, because I would obviously need her permission to get one. At first she said no, and then when I said, I'll get your name on me, she said, okay. So basically it was a no until she was being brought into it. Really what I wanted was the pinky tattoo and like a wrist tattoo. We went to the tattoo salon pretty much that same day. Cassidy even came with me, and my mom signed a paper and they transferred it over to my wrist. First order of business whenever I get another tattoo will be to cover it up. I am covering, that is my first plan. I've already actually picked out the tattoo that's going to be covering it up, so I am going to be getting it covered up. When did you realize what your mom was doing was not normal and extremely harmful? I think the first time that I tried to end my life, I realized that I could not live like this anymore, and that what she was doing was not normal, and that I just couldn't deal with it anymore. That's when I really realized how harmful she was being to me. How are you healing now? I'm doing okay. I'm doing a lot better than what I thought I would be doing. At first, I was not okay. I will be honest with you, after I released the book, I pretty much stayed in bed a lot of days that I could. At first, I did get suicidal a little bit. On Mother's Day, I self-harmed, and that's when I voluntarily admitted myself into a treatment center. I was there for 2 days. I saw a psychiatrist and went through a lot of group therapy and regular therapy, and I got released, and I've been seeing my therapist a lot since then. And so pretty much ever since I was released from the treatment center, I've been doing pretty okay. Really the only thing that triggers me is seeing my family interact with her and do things with her and then not even worry about me. Really only one person out of my whole family has contacted me since reading the book, seeing how I've been and et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm doing okay. I'm what I'm trying to do, and this is another reason why, I took so long to get this video up, was because I've been trying every single day to get outside. That's something that really, really helps me, is getting outside or doing something to where I'm not focusing on my mind racing and my thoughts and everything like that. I've really just been trying to be outside a lot whenever the boys are here. I've just been trying to have them outside and do activities with them. That way, you know, I have them distracted, I'm bonding with them, as well as keeping my mind distracted too. Alex went on a 2-week drill 2.5 week drill for the Guard, the National Guard. And so I had Andrew from the time I released the book until about the last week of May or like the second to last week of May. So that was another reason why I put it up, was because, like I said, I've just been trying to get outside, and I had him, and we have baseball, and Braden's not in school anymore. He finished kindergarten and things like that. So what made you want to start YouTube? Was it helpful through the abuse? Was your mom being supportive of it from the beginning? Because I know she monitored everything else you did. It's funny that this question was asked as well. My mom actually is the one that had me start doing YouTube. She told me about a teen mom that she had found, which I've said in videos that I found, but that's not true. She's the one that found Sarah, who I've talked about before, and she's also the one who found Jessica from Jess Fam, Gabe and Jess. I feel that her new way of controlling me was for me to do YouTube. For the first few years, she edited my videos, she monitored my Instagram. She's the one that posted a lot of things, like when my pictures had watermarks on them, that was her, that was not me on my Instagram. So a lot of my YouTube persona for the first few years was her and not me. She would cut out whatever in the videos that she didn't want me to put on YouTube. She pretty much controlled my YouTube life until I moved in with Alex, I believe. I think that's when I started editing my own stuff, and as far as Instagram and things, I would get angry if I saw her posting as me. So then she did eventually stop posting on Instagram as me and things like that. But she literally did not stop acting like me on the internet until after I was 19 years old. Did Andrew and Braden's father know about what happened? I did. Jared saw a lot of things himself. My mom would make fake profiles to catch him cheating, like she did in the book. She did that well into our relationship while we were in high school. She did it all the time. They both saw her craziness in person. As far as my past, Jared probably knows now. I actually have told his girlfriend now about it, and I think he just knows bits and pieces. Alex does know the whole thing. I have told him pretty much all of it. Alex doesn't know absolutely every detail, but he does know a good bit of it. And he knows that I have had a lot of depression issues because of it. But they did not know what was going on at the time. Alex did not know that my mom was the one who basically forced me to be with him. Jared did not know that when I was pregnant with Braden and we had a relationship, he had no idea that it was my mom and not me. So no, neither of them knew during the time, during it was all happening, none of them knew what was going on and what she had done. But recently, since then, they both know what went on. Are other people finding out what happened now that you've released the book? Yes, I did. I did actually put my book on my personal Facebook page. A lot of people from my childhood, a lot of people from my cheerleading squad that I used to cheer with, a lot of personal people from church and everything when I used to go to church saw my book and pretty much know what it's about, or they've read it themselves. I've gotten so many messages saying I've had my suspicions. I always thought it was weird, the pictures that you had on MySpace, blah, blah, blah. What made you choose to change the names of people in your book? Why didn't you change your husband's? I changed everybody in the book, mostly because a lot of them had an entire story, and I didn't want anybody that was innocent to be bothered. I didn't want people to go say, hey, you're in this book, blah, blah, blah. I was just keeping myself safe as well as keeping innocent people that didn't deserve anything, safe. I didn't change Eric's because Eric literally only has one line in the entire book, and it's the very last line of the book. And I didn't want people to be confused of who that was, because I'm ending the book with me meeting Eric, because that's when I truly think I found myself and I've started to move past everything, because he is a big reason why I've been so strong through all of this. And that was like the transition into my new life. So I ended the book with me meeting him the night that I met him, and I didn't want anybody that watches me on YouTube or anything like that to get confused of who that person was. So the person at the end of the book is Eric, because I didn't want to change his name. Now, if he would have been a huge part of the story, I would have changed his name. But he wasn't a huge part of the story. He was the ending because, like I said, that was the transition into my new life. So that's why I didn't change Eric's, and that's why I changed everybody else's. Has your mother threatened legal action against you because of death threats? No. So no legal action I have not been threatened for that. I really don't believe she was even getting death threats. People were probably saying like things like go die or stuff like that, but they probably were not threatening her and saying, I'm going to come to West Virginia and I'm going to kill you. So I don't think that she was getting those kind of death threats anyways. What were your mother's thoughts when you first started talking about it openly? Was she angry? I did mention this before. She would find out that I would tell anybody. She would get so angry. She would deny it. If I ever brought it up in a fight, she would say, oh, here we go again. She'd roll her eyes. She would say that I need to forget about it. I need to forgive her. I need to forget the past. She's a different person now. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, she would get pretty angry every time I would talk about it openly, especially to her. Who's the first person you told about all of this, and how old were you? I'm pretty sure I even put this in the book that the first person I ever told was my friend in middle school, the one that I told right before I went to CPS, or went to my guidance counselor, who then went to CPS. And I was 11. Yeah, I was 11 then when I told her. Okay, so I do want to talk about something that was brought to my attention by another YouTuber, I guess that watches my videos. There is a website that people use to talk about. They go on there and do nothing but talk about YouTubers. And somebody said, hey, I'm just letting you know somebody on this website has found this photo bucket that has all these pictures on it of you when you were younger. So then I go to this website and I read almost pretty much everything about my book. I didn't read anything before that because I'm pretty sure people were talking very badly about me and making fun of me, and that just is not something that I wanted to read. So I just wanted to show you guys some of these pictures that were on this photo bucket. I'm pretty sure my mom has deleted it since then. I tried to change the email and the password so that she couldn't, but I guess she found a way to do it. There was actually 2 photo buckets, but the one she deleted before I had a chance to really get anything off of there. But the other one she did not delete. So I just wanted to show you. So this looks normal. This looks normal. All of this looks normal. And then you start getting to the ones where I'm like really young. So let me go to the absolute beginning. So at first she was using this photo bucket to upload pictures of an old husky that we used to have that I've talked about before. This was our husky. So this is the photo bucket that she was using. I screenshotted this because I knew she would eventually delete it. Then once you get even deeper, like you see, everything's fine. There's cheer pictures of her taking pictures of us cheering. Like I said, at practices and everything. And then it starts to get to like things like this. Here we go. So here we go. I was 10. in these pictures. We were going to the park. She did say on her blog that I liked getting pictures taken of me, which I did. At first, she made me always feel so pretty, and then she turned it into meeting guys with these pictures. Guys my age, not her age. Not pedophiles, people my age. She was living through me. You can clearly tell that she's telling me what to do, how to pose. There was a picture here that people were talking about. This picture right here is a doctor's note. It says no evidence of sexual activity, I think. The reason why that was on there, I just want to address this because people were asking on that website why that was on there. The reason why that's on there is because she had told everybody that she was meeting on MySpace and talking to on AIM, she would tell them that I wasn't a virgin. And then I couldn't go anywhere. I'm telling you, I would go to football practices at schools, or she would take me to football games or to any games or track meets or whatever, and people would literally yell slut and yell names at me, and I would never even know. I never even knew what these words meant, and I would cry because I felt like I was being bullied. And so finally, I guess my mom, it was ruining what she was trying to do, so she took me to the hospital. I was checked by a doctor. I think they were checking to see if my hymen had been broke or that I had had sex. I know that they really have ruled that out, that the hymen doesn't really show that you have had sexual activity. But then again, this was over 10 years ago. So, you know, that's what they did back then. A social worker came in and talked to me and my mom. My mom made it seem like she was getting me checked because I had lied to her and things like that. And that's why that picture is on there, because she uploaded it to PhotoBucket so that she could send it to people to show them that I was a virgin and that I was lying at first, when really she was telling people that so that they thought that I would have sex with them. So here's some up close of those pictures that were on that PhotoBucket. So this is me in a bikini. I was 10 here. This is us the first time we met, me and the 16-year-old. You can tell I was very uncomfortable by my body language, and I talked about this in the book where he was wearing the Metallica shirt. So here's an up close of me when I was 11. And then this is when I started modeling for that martial arts place. I talked about how I got the tattoo of their symbol. So this is actually the day that I got the tattoo. The tattoo was still fresh. And then I have, one reason that I have a lot of self-esteem issues, and I think I have such a bad relationship with food and with losing weight and things like that, is my mom would take pictures like this, and then she would point out every flaw. I'm pretty sure she edited this picture so that I don't have a roll here, and she would say that your stomach looks so bad, you need to suck in. It was constant, just bad things about myself. If I posed a different way, or if I did my hair wrong, if I did my makeup wrong, if I straightened my hair instead of curled it, you know, it was constant. I distinctly remember her talking about my stomach in this picture of how fat I was. I want to bring up that PhotoBucket. I did clearly know about it. I've known about it for years. I've saved a bunch of pictures from it just because I knew eventually she would delete it and that I wouldn't have that proof anymore. So I wanted to bring that to light to everybody. Did she know about the book in progress? I think she did know once I put it on YouTube, but I never told her that I was going to write one. Why was she at your wedding? She was at my wedding, and I actually did not invite her at first. I invited everybody pretty much in my family except for her. And then once it got closer and closer to my wedding, I felt bad, and I said, you know, I feel like this is just me as a person. I'm constantly thinking of everybody else. And I was thinking of everybody in the house getting dressed to come to my wedding, and then she's just there not getting dressed and not coming to my wedding, and I just felt bad for her. And so I said, you can come to my wedding. And then we talked for a week or two after, and that's when I ended it. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Why is she not in jail? Well, that's pretty much answered in the book. Police did not believe me over her. CPS dropped it because she told me that I would never see my family again if I told them the truth. And I believed that, so I was scared I would never see my brother again. I was scared I would never see my Nana again, and so I told them that I lied, and everything was dropped, and she was never investigated again. I never went to the police ever again because I just felt like I was helpless. Nobody was going to help me. Come, neither one of your parents had their license. My dad hasn't had his license since I can remember, probably since I've been in elementary school. I think his license, something happened, and he lost his license, I think. And then my mom never let him get it back because she said that she didn't trust him to drive a car because he would wreck it. But really, I think it's just her way of controlling him. So he would always walk to work, or she would take him. And then once me and my brother got our licenses, we had to drive him. And then the day that I went to go take my driver's license test to get my license, she was the licensed driver that you have to have in West Virginia to get your driver's license. You have to have a licensed driver with you at the DMV. So when she showed that to them, they found out that it was not valid, and there was this whole thing. So I don't really know the whole backstory on why my mom didn't have her license, but she was not able to get it back until, I think she got it back when I was in college, maybe. And I would have to drive them everywhere. I could never do anything until I was done driving her around. I wasn't allowed to leave the house unless she was done doing everything, so that's why they didn't have their licenses. I haven't moved to a different state. Well, I really can't with the boys. I do have a court order with Jared where I can't move a certain amount of miles away from him. I could move over the state line, but that's really not taking me away from her. I'm happy where we live, and I just don't feel like I can move anywhere that's going to take me away from her, that I can move because of the boys. I'm not going to take them away from their fathers, so I'm just trying to live my life as much as I can right now, close to her, and it sucks. I really do. I've always wanted to move to, like, New Jersey or somewhere that's close but far enough away, but I just haven't been able to, and I just don't think I can with the boys. It's hard enough co-parenting. It was hard enough co-parenting with Jared, even though he lived right across the state line between Maryland and West Virginia, that I couldn't imagine living 2 hours away, so that's why I haven't moved. Have you considered starting a Patreon? I really didn't know what that was until I saw this question, and I think it's a good idea, but my mom has this thing with everyone. My mom has this thing that she's told people since I released the book, that I'm just trying to make a profit from the book, which I just want to let everyone know that the book is only $4.99. I barely get any of that. Amazon does get a cut of it. I think I am going to look more into it just because that's pretty cool. And the only reason why I haven't tried to get it printed or anything like that is because it does cost money. You have to invest into it. And, I do want to become an author. I actually have ideas about a children's book that I want to write. So, it's something that I'll consider, but I really didn't know about it until somebody commented about it. So, are your parents still together? Yes. Do you think you'll ever feel the need to tell your children about your childhood? I think I'm going to have to explain myself eventually. I think Brayden and Andrew are old enough to where they're going to remember her no matter what. And so I feel like that day is going to come where they say, why don't we talk to her anymore? Why did you stop her from seeing us? Why don't we see her? Blah, blah, blah. So when they're old enough, I feel that I should tell them, what happened, because it's really hard for me to explain to them, well, she's a bad person. Well, what did she do? I can't it's really hard to explain to children. Right now, what I say is that Mimi's not very nice to Mama, and she never has been, and I just feel like they shouldn't be around somebody that's not nice to their mama. And that's what I said to them. And they understood it, and they didn't argue with me. They were just like, okay. And sometimes they say Mimi, but they really haven't been too affected by it so far. So that's good. That's something that I was really scared of, just because Braden is 6 years old. So I thought, oh my gosh, like, he's just had too much of a relationship with her already that it's going to affect him, but it really hasn't. So that makes me happy. But yeah, eventually when they get older, I am going to tell them. And also, the book is out. It's under my actual name, so they're going to be able to find the book eventually. So, what was your mom getting out of the sexual abuse she put you through? Was she receiving something in exchange money? I don't ever think she received money for it, because everybody that she was meeting were minors, and she was taking me to actually meet these people as myself, and I don't think that she was making money off of it. I really don't believe that she was doing that at all. As for the pictures, I don't know what she was doing on the internet with them, besides the MySpace. I knew she was doing stuff on MySpace, but I don't know if she's done anything else with them, as far as that. But like in person, no, she was not receiving money. I think she was just getting a power trip and a thrill out of it, and she had completely convinced herself that she was me. She was living vicariously through me, definitely. Do you still talk to your brother? Here and there. I don't see him in person anymore. He moved from living right next to me pretty much. What gave you the courage to share? I did read Spilled Milk, and it was the first time that I felt like, holy crap, I'm not alone. I've never read a story about abuse, and especially not child abuse, and pretty much read what this child was thinking at the time, and that's exactly how I was thinking when I was a child at the time. And I just felt like this book was brought into my life for a reason, and that was enough inspiration for me. So then once I read that, I got interested in another child abuse book that I related to more, because Spilled Milk is more about her dad raping her as a child, which that never happened to me, and I don't relate to that at all. There is a book called, what's it called? Call Me Tuesday. I read that book just because it was more related to what I went through, and then that's really what inspired me. So I got inspired to share my own story, because I feel like there are more other people that have gone through trauma and everything, that they don't know how to deal with it, or they feel alone in the world, and like I did for all these years. I'd never ever, my mom made me believe so much that I was crazy and that I should forgive her, and that what she did was not that severe, and that I should just never think about it ever again. And when I read that book, I was like, holy crap, her family kind of reacted the same way that I thought my family was going to react. And, you know, I related to these girls a lot in these books. And so it just convinced me that if there is a person out there that feels like I do, that's reading these child abuse books, and they are finally relating to somebody that went through something so traumatic, and they feel alone, I just want my book to be able to help them cope, and maybe inspire them to not even to just write about it, maybe to take the steps to start healing, go to therapy. I never went to therapy until recently. I never ever went to see a therapist. I never talked really openly about it to anybody that wasn't close to me. So I never found anybody that I related to about it. So once I found these books, that's what inspired me, and that's what gave me the courage. I did not make up what happened to me just because I read 2 books about child abuse. I did not. You can't make that up. And I wrote this book within like a month. How do you think I came up with this whole entire life story of abuse in a month? and it's not true. I'm not gonna come on here and lie. I'm not gonna write a book about lies about my mom, who is alive and could get me in trouble for lying about her. I'm not gonna do that. Somebody asked, how did you go about publishing on Amazon? I actually saw that Spilled Milk she self-published on Amazon, so I Google searched self-published on Amazon, and Kindle publishing came up, and I just read about it, and that's when I started writing the book. And then once I was done, I just published it on there, and it just walks you through publishing it on it. And so that's why I only put it on Amazon. I haven't looked into how to get it on iBooks. I looked into getting it printed, but I have to invest pretty much, except for paperback. Paperback on Kindle, they can print it for you if you order it paperback, but my format is all messed up when I try to upload it to Kindle for them to print it on paperback. So I just haven't figured out the format yet. But there was a website that I looked into that you can get it published, but you have to pay like $300 to get them published, to get like a few copies of it. And so I just didn't have the money. So I went on Kindle, and that's what I did. I've been through counseling for PTSD. I went through that. I have been going through therapy. I did go to a treatment center and everything like that. So recently I have, but before I did not know. Did she try to do these things to your brother as well? She didn't do anything to him while we were children, or teenagers, really. The only thing that she did was try to control his relationships. And if he didn't want to, I remember one time he didn't want to date this girl that my mom had met at a football game, and my mom really liked her, and I remember her going off on him for not giving this girl a chance. And I actually remember getting in a fight with her about it, saying, you're not going to do this to him. Let him pick his own girlfriends. He's only had like 2 or 3 relationships, and each relationship she was very, very involved in, and she's very, very involved in his relationship right now. Does your husband have a relationship with your mom? I told Eric pretty early in our relationship what my mom did, and that's only because I liked him so much, and my mom and I argued a lot. We were arguing a lot. It started to get to where Eric knew we were fighting, and I didn't want him to think, like you guys thought for so many years, that I was just being a brat, and that I was being bratty towards my mom, and any argument or anything that was happening, that I was being a brat. So I did eventually tell him, this is why my mom and I don't get along. And from that point on, I think Eric's like instincts kicked in, like caretaker instincts kicked in, and ever since then, he has done everything in his power to support me. He has not had a relationship with my mom ever since I told him what she did. So now I'm just going to bring up some points that I read on the website that people could go on and talk about me and stuff. Somebody said that at first, like before they found the photo bucket and looked at those pictures of the ones that my mom took of me, there was one person that said that they think that I fabricated everything and that I made everything up, and that because of my bipolar. I don't think I've ever said in a video that I've been diagnosed with bipolar, and I never have been diagnosed with bipolar, and even since I've been to treatment centers, seen psychiatrists, been to therapists, and been to my primary doctor, I've never been diagnosed with bipolar. I show no signs of bipolar whatsoever, so I don't know where somebody got that. So I just wanted to clear that up. I want to bring this up. This is what somebody wrote themselves. This is an exact quote. I don't know, I just think they are toxic together because Christy was trying to live through Lindsay, and Lindsay is very entitled now. So when Christy finally got the balls to start telling her no, she threw a fit. I can only imagine how toxic and manipulative they were to each other. Christy said after they had that McDonald's parking lot fight, she came home the next morning and asked for her car. And when she told her no, Lindsay tried to flip their new TV over and grabbed a knife and tried to get Christy, but her dad interfered and Lindsay ran out the back door with nothing, not even shoes. So they drove to find her, and she was walking down the road barefoot, screaming, and Christy had to physically grab her by her arms and tried to get her in the car and said she grabbed her by the hair. So Christy definitely didn't make it seem like she was a saint and admitted her faults. My mom completely made that story up. She clearly got on the Instagram live and the YouTube live stream and completely lied. I didn't see these videos. They were deleted before I was able to see them. So I don't know exactly what she said, but yeah, apparently she said that, and that is a complete lie. She makes it seem like I'm just this spoiled brat, and that I'm being a bitch, and that I'm always constantly arguing with her, and that she's playing the victim is what she's doing. Somebody brought up on the page that I am friends with the executive producer on Dr. Phil. I'm actually not. I'm friends with a junior producer or assistant producer, and I just want to bring that up as well. So while I lived in her basement, while I was renting her basement from her, we got in a huge fight, and I brought up what she did to me. And again, she told me that, oh, here we go again. Don't stop bringing it up. All you do is bring up the past. I'm a different person. And at that point, I was completely convinced that there was no fixing our relationship without some kind of help. I just didn't know how to fix our relationship myself or ourselves. I felt like we really needed some professional help. And I feel like Dr. Phil had connections for us to really, really fix our relationship, and maybe, maybe he can convince her that she did these things and it's severe and it's real. And so I did. I wrote to Dr. Phil on his show, like on his website. I submitted, and I got a call the next day from Dr. Phil, the show, not himself. I got a call from his producer, which I have that on here.
Hi, Lindsay. My name is Wendy. I'm calling from the Dr. Phil television show. I wanted to touch base with you in regards to an email you recently sent. If you could, please give me a call back as soon as you get this.
So they called me and also sent me an email. And in the email, she said, you can add me on Facebook. So I replied to the email with pictures and pretty much everything that happened to me. And then I did add her on Facebook. She accepted me, but then they never contacted me again. So I did write to them. I did get a response, but then I never went on there. So that's just an explanation for that. And then, of course, on that website, after I didn't put up this video for a month, now people are saying that I lied and that I made stuff up, and that's why I haven't posted the Q&A, and I'm in hiding now, and things like that. And somebody even went as far as to say, if I don't put up the video soon, people are going to lose interest. Well, I did not put a book out of my traumatic childhood that I had to live with, that I still have to deal with and remember. And I did not put that up to get people's interest and just keep people's interest. Once I put this video up, I don't ever want to talk about my childhood ever again. I want to heal, and I want to go to therapy myself behind, in my own personal life. And that's it. I want to move past this. I want to move forward. And I think a huge reason why I have a lot of problems dealing with things right now is because I'm always constantly thinking about the past and dwelling on it. And I just want to be done with it. So I'm putting this Q&A video out so that people get their answers, and so that they're not as confused, because I know that watching me for years on YouTube is going to be confusing to people that are now reading the actual truth. And so that's one of the reasons why I am putting this Q&A up. I can't believe somebody actually went as far as to say I should get the video up soon because people are going to lose interest. Like I said, I did not put this up to keep people's interest. I did not get it up just to get the book out and for people to buy it, and that's it. It's just not how it is. So somebody also brought up that I can't stick to anything. Me not putting up the Q&A, constantly saying that I'm going to, is just like me saying I'm going to vlog full time, just like me saying I'm going to lose weight. I have brought up in videos before, and actually even put it on Instagram once, that I never finish anything, and I don't. I finish phlebotomy, and that's it. I have a flaw of not being able to finish anything, and I'm just not one of those people that once I decide I'm going to do something, I just keep with it. That's just something that I'm trying to work on, and I just have a problem with it, and I think that a lot of it has to do with my mental health. I mean, you guys don't understand how depressed I was, and sometimes still am, and just the way that I cope sometimes is to lay in bed all day, and that's just depression. That's how it is. I am not making I all these years I am not making up my depression. I'm not making up my anxiety. I actually do have these things, and I have been clinically diagnosed with these things, and sometimes I just don't want to get on camera, and that's because I'm so depressed. And so yeah, I have multiple times say I'm going to stick with something and then I never do. And that's something that I really do want to change and I want to work on, but I'm not going to say on here that I'm not like that, because I am. And I even, right before I put the book out, said I was going to vlog full time, but then all this shit happened after the book with the going to the treatment center and self-harming myself and the depression that I've had and everything. I just don't want to get on camera, and I just wish people would understand that you're not in my situation. You're not dealing with it like I am. You did not have to go through what I did as a child, and like I said, I put stuff in that book, but there is still some things that you guys don't even know, and that are bizarre. And so also, me being so depressed, the last thing sometimes I want to do is go to the gym. And sometimes I sit in my room and I binge eat, and I eat constantly, and I eat really bad things, and then I find comfort sometimes in food, and I have a really bad relationship with food, and I have really bad self-esteem, and I'm telling myself in my mind, you don't deserve these things. And that's a reason why, that's some of the reason why I don't stick with things, is because me thinking of me losing weight and, being successful with fitness and things like that, I think to myself, you don't deserve to have that kind of life. I have told myself that. And something that comes along with depression is that you can't feel positive feelings. And that's so true, because no matter how much I try, sometimes I just cannot feel positive. And people think that you're thinking negatively, and that's why your life is so bad. And when, even if you're thinking positive, you can't help chemical imbalances in your brain to make you depressed. And it's hard. It's hard, guys. It's hard. And no matter how much I try, sometimes I just can't do things. And I'm trying. So yeah, I haven't lost any weight since a few months ago. I did go to the gym for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, but then I stopped. So I just want you guys to realize that sometimes the last thing I want to do is go to the gym. And the last thing I want to do is eat healthy. And the last thing I want to do is get out of bed and go do things. And the last thing I want to do is get on camera and talk to people, especially people that are constantly judging you and going on a website and talking about how ugly you are and how fat you are and how bratty you are and how bad of a mother you are. And that's just how it is. And I just wish you guys understand that now, that some things people just can't help. And yes, eventually I've put so much effort into healing since I released this book, and it's been hard. It really has. Sometimes, some days, waking up and just surviving is hard. I'm not trying to make excuses for myself. There are other people that have had terrible things happen to them and they have came out on top, but not every person is the same, and I'm gonna heal how I heal as a person. And if that means that I'm not gonna lose weight or stick to something right away, that's how it is. That's me. Yeah, somebody also said that she's got time for other things but haven't put the Q&A up. Like I said, I've been trying to be out of the house as much as I can, because if not, I'm going to lay in bed all day and I'm going to get depressed, and it's not going to help me. So I've been trying to have picnics and go outside and take the boys to the park and constantly go to their baseball games and just be outside, and that has kept me from being able to record and edit. So, yeah, that's why I've been doing other things and haven't put the Q&A up. But anyways, I'm gonna end this vlog now, or I'm gonna end this video, this Q&A now. I just hope that this whole situation has opened a lot of people's eyes up, kind of. You never know what's going on in somebody's life. You never know what they went through. Everybody's fighting a battle that you know nothing about, and just a simple smile, a simple holding the door open, a simple compliment about somebody's hair or eyes or anything goes a long way with some people that you have no idea what's going on in their head. I did want to bring up, I did change my Instagram name to leboriousfamily. I also wrote on my fan page on Facebook for Lindsey and Baby that I am starting a new blog, and I even started a new fan page on Facebook. I actually also deleted Lindsey and Baby already. I don't know if it's completely, Facebook said it might take 14 days or something like that, but I did delete that. And I am going to start writing a blog, because I love playing with Photoshop. I love creating things, and I feel like it's a good outlet because I really do love writing. And even if I don't become an author, I would love to just write blog posts and things. And I feel like it's a way for me. It's a hobby for me that's going to help me be motivated, you know. So I started this blog, and I named it Laborious Family. I will link it down below so you guys can go follow it. I am still going to be making videos. Someone also made a comment on that website that I changed the name of my Instagram to Laborious Family, even though neither of the boys have that last name. No, they don't have Eric's last name, but we're all still family. He's their stepdad now. We're married. Last names, blood, has nothing to do with family, and I think, you know, we've all realized that. I think that way too now. Just because somebody's blood does not mean they're family to you. I don't want to bring up my childhood ever again. I don't want to talk about it. I want to move past it. So this is the last video I will be addressing it at all. So if you have any more questions, I'm sorry. If you don't understand, I'm sorry. If I didn't answer all of your questions in this video, I am really, truly sorry. But this is the end of it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.